Hi, I'm Victoria Bond, and welcome to Mum's Time to Shine, how to connect to your soul's purpose and pursue it without sacrificing quality time and connection with your family. Today, we are joined with Jojo Graham. How are you today, Jojo?
I am amazing. It's 9 p.m, well, 9:30 in the UK, and it's just a pleasure to end my day having this conversation with you. So thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's so cool being on different basically sides of the planet, like how we can have this connection. I love it.
I
Yeah, so
know.
Jojo, so you are not only an expert in business, you have a degree in business management and more than 4 years, or about 4 years business in coaching, event planning, network marketing, and you are a mum of a beautiful 2-year-old little boy called Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noah's probably my number one role. Being a mum is my number one role, but with everything that I'm passionate about has always been about business, and it's just amazing that I can do it around being a mum as well.
And that's what also talking about, this technology, we can. So it's really coaches like yourself that have started asking the questions of how can we create more while our number one job is being at home with our baby and our 2-year-old and not having to go to the office every day because, your home is your office, really. So that's
You
what
can
I
pick
love.
up the days. And I was adamant, even before he was born, even before I even knew he was coming, I always wanted to have this life. I always wanted to have choices, to be there for him without any question at all. I've chosen to put him in nursery a couple of days a week now because it gives me more time, but that's a choice, and I can be there for him whenever. And I think as mums we should have, it's like a God-given right in my eyes that we should have that choice. And the more mums that I can connect with and help them have that lifestyle, then the better, and that's my job done.
Excellent. And what I love is, when I first had my children, my mum was like, are you going to put your kids into daycare? Like, my mum was always like a stay-at-home mum. There's 5 of us. I'm the oldest, and my youngest brother is 18 years younger than me. So I'd moved out by then. But she was just like, oh, daycare, oh my gosh. It's, she had certain points of view about daycare. And what I found is my kids love daycare. My son goes 5 days a week. He's 3 because he asks me. I had him a day off to spend a day with me, and he goes, no, Mum, please, can I go?
Yeah.
He's at
Noah
kindy.
absolutely loves it. He only goes 1 day a week at the moment. And when he first started, and I'm sure you had this as well, he was a bit apprehensive and he wasn't sure. But now I have to drag him out of there. I'm like, no, we've got to go home. And he's like, no, I want to stay. And it's horrible. But, as long as they're happy. And I think, when we, especially ambitious women, ambitious mums, we need to focus on our businesses, and we need to grow, and we need to constantly have that ambition. We need to work on our businesses, and if we're constantly just being in mum mode, we're going to end up being really unhappy. So I think it's really important that we have the time to work on our businesses and work on ourselves as well.
And it's important for them to have know how to interact with all different types of people as well. I didn't go to kindy or anything like that, and I think I went to play centre once a week with my mum, but I was really, really shy, believe it or not. I was extremely shy, and I kind of thought, well, I want my kids to be able to, especially if they want to become entrepreneurs or have businesses, to be able to interact with all sorts of people. And from an early age, I actually really, so I've changed my thinking on that immensely. Which brings me
I think not just that, if you're showing them what is possible with a bit of hard work, they're going to see what's possible for themselves as well. Like, I want Noah to look at me and think, my mum's a badass, like she's creating an awesome business. I can do whatever I want. So I think, it's important for us to go after what we want to, for that reason.
Yeah, and that makes us a better mum,
Yeah,
absolutely. And which is what this whole summit is being like a conscious mum, being putting yourself first. Like so many of the coaches have said, you always put on your safety mask first, if mum is drowning, so is the family. And, you know, 2 years ago when I was not okay and my body was shutting down and I was depressed and stuff, what was happening is everything else was in massive turmoil. You know, my husband was like, oh, my kids were like screaming, and I was just functioning. And then when I started adding things into my life and going, what is it that I want? What else is possible? All of a sudden, they all come up, and we're not getting sick anymore, because they were getting sick and all sorts of stuff. So I think it's really important for ambitious mums to find their niche kind of thing.
Definitely. The first, and I'm sure a lot of mums will relate to this, but the first 8 months of Noah's life, I completely lost myself. I was in business at the time, not the business that I run now, but a different business. I was in business. I was doing things to please other people. I was working on things that just didn't light me up. I was putting myself at the bottom of my list. So, you know, Noah was my number one priority. And then it was my partner at the time, his business. Then it was our home. It was cooking, cleaning, all of these different hats that as mums we put on. And then by the end of the day, and then I had my business to run too. By the end of the day, I was just a complete wreck. There was no time for me, no time to fill my cup up. And I always say that we need to make sure that our cups are full, because then it will overflow onto everyone around us. And obviously our children and our partners and, you know, our family, people that are around us will be impacted the most, whether that is positive or negative. So it's always important to make sure we're happy. And then everyone else will be. The moment I raised my standards and decided to do what I wanted to do, that's when everything changed.
Absolutely. And so how did you get to where you are now? Because you're a successful coach, and like you were saying before, you really have lots of free, awesome kind of quality work that you share with people. So how was it just a gradual thing? Was it an aha moment?
Okay, so it was quite a gradual thing. I've always been really, really passionate about business. So I did business when I was in school. When I was 16, I knew I wanted to be successful. So I got myself a job in a bank. It was a Saturday job to start off with, but I knew I wanted to like climb some kind of like ladder to success. So I went into the bank, but then while I was working in the bank, I was also studying business management in university. So I spent 3 years studying business, working in the bank job as well to bring some money in, graduated. And then like a lot of people, when I graduated, instead of doing what I was studying and, you know, going to set up my own business or going into some kind of business role somewhere, the easy thing that I could do at that time was to just go full-time in my bank job, because it was going to pay the bills, it was going to bring some money in, and it was just the easy thing to do. At the time, I was living in my hometown, and it's quite like a small place. I don't know if you're from like a small town or if you can relate to this, but everyone knew everyone's business, and it just wasn't where I was supposed to be, because there was just no opportunity down there. It was just, dead. People go there to retire. So I thought, right, okay, what can I do? I then transferred my bank job to Cardiff, where I live now, which is like another city, and worked there for 3 years, but I still had that feeling of wanting and needing more, but I just didn't know what it was. So I was working for 3 years, had a few promotions, was climbing this like ladder to success that I thought that I should be climbing. And then it was 3 years into moving that I went for a couple of more promotions in my job, and everyone that I knew, everyone that I worked with said that you're going to get it, like the job's yours, because I was really good at what I did. I was in the like top 5 of the country, so I was really, really good at what I did. So I just felt like this job was mine. When it came to it, they didn't give me the job. They gave it to someone else who had been in the bank for like 6 months, and I was like, right. I threw my toys at the pram, I stopped performing, and I thought in that moment, I am not going to allow anyone else to dictate how much I'm worth. So that was in like the June. It took me a few months to really do anything about it. I just didn't care. All I was doing was going to my job to just get paid and then go home. I was doing just enough to get paid. And then in the September, so that was 2014. So in the September of that year, I came across a network marketing opportunity. So I'm not sure if you know about network marketing, marketing, but it's an opportunity to start a business that you are basically given everything. You don't have to hold any stock. The whole business structure is like designed for you. You just have to go off and sell the product and show other people how to do it. So within that business, I quickly saw success. I grew a team eventually of up to about 200 people. I quit my job within like a month or two of starting that business. It was way before I was financially ready. But what happened was in the October of that year, or the November of that year, I went for a meal with two of my sisters. It was for my cousin's birthday. And I sat down at the meal and I said to my sisters, I want to just completely change my life. I want to get rid of my car. I want to quit my job. And I just want to start fresh and just do something different. And on the way home from that meal, it was raining really heavy and I almost crashed my car. And I was like, whoa, that was close. Like, I don't want to get rid of my car this, like this.
Not this way.
Yeah, not this way. So then I carried on driving home, and literally within like 3 minutes of that close shave with that other car, I crashed my car. I was at the back of a 4-car pileup. So my car was a complete write-off. My sisters and myself were thankfully okay. Like the airbags came up, the police came, the fire engines came, and yeah, I got rid of my car. So you have to be really careful what you wish for, because the law of attraction is so real. So in that moment, I took it as a sign that I needed to do something. I needed to change my life. So that was on the 1st of November. By the 1st of December, I handed my notice into my job. And by the 1st of January, I was on my own, no boss, no income. I had to make it happen. I almost had to take away plan B. So I didn't have that comfort blanket. And that's not something that I recommend everyone do, because I know myself and I knew I'd make it work. If I didn't make it work, the worst thing that I was going to do was just get another job. But that wasn't an option for me. So that was in the beginning of 2015. I then met my little boy's dad. We moved to London and started growing my business in London, because London's just bigger, it's got more opportunities. I was just going wherever the opportunity was. And I think it was like 6 weeks into moving to London that I found out that I was pregnant. It wasn't planned. It wasn't part of my plan, but I was faced with this situation of, right, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I need to just make this work. And it gave me that new fire in my belly to be a success. So at that point, I was still in my network marketing business. I was growing it. My team was growing in London. It was fantastic. My son's dad, his business was growing as well. We lived in central London. It was just amazing. Noah was born in April 2016. And that's when just like your whole life changes. I worked up until the night he was born. And then I think I took 2 weeks off and I was back into work. Thankfully, he was a really good baby. He like slept through the day and he was just really good. But during the first 8 months of his life, I just felt totally on my own, secluded, isolated from everybody, lost myself. I was working so hard on everyone else's businesses and my business, and yeah, I just completely lost myself. So I think the tipping point came for me. It was December 2016, and I just organised a live event in London for 800 entrepreneurs, and it nearly broke me because I'd never done an event of that size before. We had speakers flying in from all over the world, and it was an incredible day, but I was completely broken from that moment. And I knew at that point enough was enough. I had to do something about this. Otherwise, I was just going to go downhill. I felt myself going down this really negative spiral. Although I'd done a lot of mindset work, I was in the self-development space. I knew the things I needed to do. I just knew I had to get support at that time. So I hired a coach and invested 5 figures in this coach that I didn't have. I got my last credit card, maxed it out. So at that point, I think it took me to like nearly $30,000 of debt. And I was like, right, this is it now. It's do or die. I need to make this work. And for 18 months before that point, because I was within the industry and because Noah's dad's in the industry, I was always told you'd be amazing at coaching. You should really be a coach. You know, I was coaching people for free anyway within my business, my other business. So it took me 18 months to really believe in myself enough to actually step into it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about investing a lot of money in someone that makes you puts your back against the wall to actually make it happen. So I was like, right, okay, I need to make this happen. So just like yourself, you shared this with me before we got on today's call. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I went all in. I read every single book that I could possibly read on coaching. I got myself out there. I just did everything that I could to make it a success. And within my first month, I generated $7,500. Within 6 weeks, I made my return on investment for what I invested. 6 months, I generated $30,000, and then 6 figures in my first year. Mm-hmm. And when I say it now, it's crazy to think that, it happened in such a short space of time. And it wasn't something that happened overnight. It was a gradual process, and it took a lot of work every single day to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I always focused on having really strong foundations, connecting with people, giving as much value away as I possibly could for free, and be that coach and not chase the money. And then the money just came, and the money was just a byproduct of how I was showing up every day. So that is pretty much it in short.
And that's awesome. And one thing I've learned by talking to entrepreneurs like yourself is you guys didn't just say, hook us up with the money and it fell from the sky or picked it off the tree. And people go, oh, I couldn't be like Jojo because she was this or this or this or this. The truth is you can be whatever you want, but you have to put the work in. You did it until you were right up until you had your baby. And it's the same with me. Like 2 weeks after having my little boy, I was working in my salon again, and I was working, and I carried really big, and I had terrible, terrible children that don't sleep. They still don't sleep. But
I know, I feel really bad when I say that. I'm like, he was a good baby, and he was awake. Sometimes and I forgot to mention that throughout the whole of the time building this business, I was 6-7 hours away from my family. He wasn't in nursery. I couldn't afford nursery. He wasn't in childcare, so I literally had to do it in his nap time. I didn't have a choice. So I had 2 hours, 3 hours a day to build my business. And that's when you get really laser focused and know you can't mess about. You have to get it done.
Yeah. And I applaud you, because so many mums, like I say, I had my kids were terrible, but I've got 2 sisters here and a mum, and a mum and dad and a brother, and my husband. So I could really, if I really, really needed help and I needed some sleep, but I wouldn't be able to do what you did with little tiny children. And that's when you have that determination.
I look back and I really don't know sometimes how I did it, because me and Noah's dad, we split up when Noah was 1 as well. Mm-hmm. So I then had to move cities, become a single mum and deal with all of that, but then still show up for my business and for my clients. They had no idea what was going on in my personal life, because it wasn't important to them. They didn't need to know. And I shared it, I think it was 6 months after it actually happened. I shared okay, this is what happened in my life, and they're like, we had no idea. And you just, as a leader, you have to just show up for them and deal with what you're dealing with in your way with the people that are in your support network.
Absolutely. And again, that goes back to, there's no excuses. If you want to do something, you have to show up. If you're going to bed at 2 a.m. and you're up at 6 because you are creating a summit, or just hypothetically, then that's what you do. And you have to commit to your life. And that's what I teach in my coaching, is about committing to your life and not using the back door of your life. Because in Access Consciousness, we talk about shutting the back door, because I wasn't realizing it, but I was running through the back door all the time to escape. Because, I better move town now. Because every 4 years I'd want to move town. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness, I'm running away. So rather than showing up and taking on whatever comes at you, because let's face it, in business, you are going to have a few obstacles that you need to jump over.
Oh my gosh, daily. And, especially as mums, our children are so unpredictable. We don't know when they're going to wake up. We don't know when they're going to just, for example, I've just launched an 8-week course, and I was going to wait until afterwards to potty train Noah. He decided he was going to potty train himself, or to start potty training while I was in the middle of this launch. And I'm like, we weren't going to do this yet, but you have to go with it, because, you know, I'm not going to stop him from, you know, potty training.
Yeah.
So that was added into the mix, and you just have to run with it. And what I say to all of my clients, because I work, you know, specifically with mums, is your children have to be your reason, not your excuse. They, you know, they're the reason why you're doing it. So that's why you make those sacrifices. You can't have excuses when you're building a business and you're a mum.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you just have to. I was in massive victim mode. So I was like, poor me, I slept 2 hours. Poor me, my kid is doing this. Poor, like, it was all poor me. And one day I heard myself and I was like, you've got to stop. You've got to stop, because people care, but really they don't.
It's addictive. You know, being in that victim mindset, you get addicted to misery, and it's crazy, because why would you want to be unhappy? But it's almost as if you're like, if you don't feel like you deserve to have an amazing life, it's almost like you're justifying it by making it even worse, which is just completely bizarre. But that's what happens, and that's the place that I was in at the end of 2016, and that's when I said, I can't do this anymore, this is just ridiculous. I was myself off that I was thinking like that. So you know, when you make the decision and that shift, right, okay, enough is enough, I need to sort this out, that's when the magic happens.
And it's always down to you. As a coach myself, I coach more holistic stuff. People come to me and they go, I need your help. And when I let them talk and stuff, I've actually had to say to people, I can't help you. I've never been able to help you. All I can do is give you these tools, and everything you do is your choice. Everything. You know, it's like putting someone on a diet. If they're not going to follow the diet, or, you know, healthy food eating or whatever, they're definitely not going to get healthier. So mums that are in a little bit of a pickle, we've both been in those spots before, and they don't know how to take that first step. So you were talking about network marketing, all that type of stuff. They have no idea what they want. They don't know where to start in business. What can they do just to kind of propel them forward a little bit, if they want to become like you and become successful?
Yeah. So it's as simple as reaching out to somebody who has done it and who they want to learn off. I could not have done this if I did not have a coach or a mentor, or just someone who had basically done what I needed to do. And I'm following my coach's footsteps pretty much to the T. Like, I've created exactly what she's created in her first 18 months with my first 18 months. So, you know, if you are in a place where you're ready to step up, ready to be coachable, and ready to learn off somebody, then you will accelerate in your life or business or whatever it is you want to do. If that is too much right now, just start with some self-development. Go onto YouTube and look at some of the mentors on there to inspire you, to get you thinking about, you know, what it is that you want to do. I do a lot of journaling, so I journal a lot around what I want my desired life to look like, the things in my life that I need to take away, because we're so focused, I think, sometimes on what we need to add to our life, we forget about thinking about what we need to take away. And, you know, you might need to take away toxic people. I took away a lot of people from my life. And now I have a very small, tight-knit circle that I know I can trust, not that understand me, that get me, that support me, that cheer me on. If there's anyone in my life that's negative or who is going to drag me down, then they're out. I just cut them out, because you cannot allow that in your life. You have to be so protective of your bubble. I like to call it like your bubble. You have to be so protective, because you only live like on this planet once, so you have to make it your best life. And people pleasing, doing things because you feel like you have to or you should do, is not going to get you anywhere. You need to start breaking the rules, taking risks, and it would all start with just that small step of reaching out to somebody. Or, you know, if that is a bit too much of a bold move right now, just go on YouTube, pick up a book, and, you know, just start asking yourself some good questions
Yeah.
for where you want to go in your life next.
And I think when we start with questions, which is what I teach as well, and you're saying, well, what do I want? If you don't know what question to ask, you say, what question can I ask? Who can help me create? So the way I've created the summit, because like I said to you before, this is the first time I've ever used a computer. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm a hairdresser. I'm like this creative, like, you know, intuitive kind of like weirdo, and here I am in front of a computer. So it's really funny, but I started saying, do I need to do this? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Who can contribute to me? Oh, hello, Jojo. Would you like to come play? And
you know, you've had the courage to work it out. You have to do things that, and this is something that really stuck to me. I remember my mum saying this to me when I was around 14, 15, and perhaps this has had a big aspect of, you know, why I am the way I am. I wanted her to phone in sick for me once in my job when I was like working in a cafe, and she wouldn't do it for me, and I was like, oh, please, can you just do it? I don't want to go into work. And she said to me, sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. And from that moment, it's like it just still rings in my head. Like, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do. If that's working out how to use a computer, working out how to do something that's really difficult, speaking to someone, making that phone call, putting yourself out there on social media, if that's what you need to do for your business, you have to do it. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. But the more you do it, the more comfortable it's going to feel. So it's just having that courage and just taking baby steps as well. You don't have to look at the really successful people that are doing amazing things and think you have to be there right now. Just start where you are, take those steps, and you will get there eventually. It's a journey and it's a process.
So for someone who failed at school, someone who, that was me, I failed miserably, but I don't really think it's a failure because I learned in a different way.
100%.
So I'd be better to have a coaching session with you talking to me than I would be reading your book. It's just the way I function.
I would say my degree is the biggest waste of money ever. I don't regret it because, you know, obviously I did learn a lot. School, I will probably end up homeschooling Noah, or I don't want him to go into the schooling system. That's going to be a choice for me because, like I say, everybody learns differently, and I don't want him to be just put into an environment where he's forced to learn in a certain way that might be different to him. So in terms of, you know, if you feel like you don't have the education, or if you don't know what you need to do, then you're gonna fail miserably, because that's more of a safe self-belief. I always say to my clients, your confidence should lead your competence, because if you feel like you have to be competent at something, like, you'll just be in trouble. You have to be confident in the knowledge that you will figure it out, you'll find a way, and you will make it happen. And like, that to me is everything. Like, I know how to do everything, but I sure as hell will work it out if I need to.
Exactly. And I think, you know, I was amazing when I went to hairdressing school, because they were talking to me like I was an adult, and they were talking to me, and I was like, I was a top, you know, but I failed at school. But it was a different teaching styles. And hairdressing, I know people, there's a certain kind of stigma on it, but it's really hard. You go in with 35 students.
Oh my gosh.
You come out with 5. People quit because you're full of maths and science, and plus you have to have the talent, and you've got to be able to figure it all out while you're moving. You know, it's like hitting your tummy and rubbing your head, you know, or whatever. You've got to multitask.
You're on your feet all day. My mum used to be a hairdresser, and you're on your feet. But she wouldn't even touch my hair now, because it's changed so much since she trained. It's a lot more technical now with the colors, and like you said, there's like the numbers and the maths and the techniques and all of this different stuff. So yeah, it's hard work, really hard work. So I applaud, you know, it doesn't matter what your attitude to it, and willingness to be the best at whatever it is that you're doing.
Exactly. So if a mum came to you and said, okay, Jojo, I think I want you to train me, but I am scared because I actually failed. I know what you just said about having the confidence and the competence and whatnot, but can they succeed in being an entrepreneur and becoming rich? Let's face it, if you're not scared of money, you can have money. Can they do that even if they did fail at school, can they become like a rich entrepreneur? Because I know a lot of them, I just kind of want to re-say that, because a lot of them don't think it's in their reality because they're a mum now, or because they failed at school because they're not clever, and they think, oh, that's not in my realm, and they're constantly scraping for money. But I feel like we should be saying, you don't have to.
No,
You can do this.
You really don't. You really don't. I've learned more about business since running a business and starting a business than I did studying it. Like, hands down, I've learned so much more. And I think what a lot of people do is they sell themselves short because they feel like they haven't got the expertise, but we're all an expert in something. So one of the exercises that I get my clients to do is I get them to write out a list of all the things that they've accomplished and they've done in their life, whether that was in school, whether it was in a job, whether it was in, like, even if it's like drama school. If you go to drama school, you're confident in, or you've learned techniques to be confident. You can transfer that into your business. There's so much that you can pull from your life experiences that you can transfer into your new business, and use it to your advantage to become that go-to person and that expert. So I don't think there's anyone who cannot succeed. It's all around attitude and your enthusiasm to make it work. Because if you think about an enthusiastic person, like, they attract people to them, because people want to be around enthusiastic, happy people that are passionate about what they do. And if you've got that, then the rest will just fall into place, because you almost put yourself in a position where you have to make it work, and you have to find out the answers, and it's a really powerful place to be.
Absolutely. And do you work with people that are scared of money? Because I know a lot of people that I talk to are scared. They actually don't want money because of what that means, like the conditioning around the years and years and years of conditioning of what that means to have money. Do you do work on that as well?
Yeah, so I think most people are afraid of money, even if they don't think they are. They are. I have my community is called the Rich Mum, so it's all about being rich in money, rich in happiness, rich in life. So rich in money is a big thing for me, but I would say, like, at any level that you're at in your business, whether you're just starting out or whether you're making, if you made your first sale or 6 figures or 7 figures in your business, you're always going to have to do some level of money mindset work, because it's breaking through different levels, and it's not so much about having like a money mindset issue, but it's more of a self-worth issue. So you don't feel like you're worthy or that you deserve the money, or you're just not used to it. And like you said, we're conditioned so much from a very young age to think that money is a bad thing, like money's the root of all evil. Even being told, like, don't put that in your mouth, don't put that penny in your mouth because it's dirty, don't put money in your mouth, it's dirty. We've got this subconscious belief that money is bad, it's negative.
My God, I didn't even think about that.
I know. So if you can, this is what I'm trying to do with Noah. If he picks up money, instead of saying, oh, don't put that in your mouth, it's dirty, I say, no, that's a really precious thing, like, it's really valuable, let's put it in a pot. And it's conditioning our minds differently, just like that. And it's a small thing, but it just goes such a long way. So when you change your relationship with money and see it as like something, even a penny, pound, whatever, it doesn't have to be big numbers, as something of value. I've got a pot in my kitchen called the thank you pot. When you find that just bits of coins in your house, I put it in there and I say thank you. So having gratitude for what you've got is going to bring more into your life, and know that money is just a tool to have to do more. I know if I make more money in my business, I'll be able to reach more people, because I can invest it back in, I can grow more, I can serve people on a bigger scale. So that's my relationship with money now. It's just, I can do, be, and have more, and that's going to affect everybody around me. It's like that overflow that we were talking about at the beginning. It's going to overflow onto everyone around me.
And you've really got to be careful with your words, because, like, I love that thank you pot. I love it. I'm so making a thank you pot, because what happens is I used to say, I am so lucky, I always have just enough. And I was always like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. I've always got just enough for the bills, for food, for a bowl of wine if I want, for the kids' stuff. And I end up with nothing at the end of the day, but it doesn't matter because I've got enough. And then I went, oh my God, what am I doing? And then I was like, okay, can I please have enough plus extra? And then next minute, I've got hundreds of dollars extra.
Yeah, and it is, and it's because it's that fine line and getting that balance between being grateful for what you've got, because if you're grateful for what you've got, you're always going to have more, but then being open to receiving more and being really specific in terms of what you want to create. So my goal for my first year in my business was six figures, $100,000, and I was generating $100,000 the exact day. It was the 5th or 6th of January, and on that day was the day that I made the sale that made 100,000, and that was the day that I started my business the year before. And I just messaged my coach. I was like, I've done it. Like, today's the day, and I've just done it. So when you're so specific around what you want, and you've got that clear goal, and you're focused on it all the time, it has no choice but to happen.
Yeah.
And but then it is keeping focus on that throughout the whole time that you've got that goal. So every single day for the 12 months, I was focused on my goal.
And what I love about what you said at the very beginning was I had no choice. Like, I kept saying I might go back to my job, but in my mind, like, I probably shouldn't even be saying that, because at the end of the day, when you have no choice, your kid is going to walk. They might fall over 100 times. They might actually walk after 2 times. Someone might be successful very quickly, and it might take other people longer. But if you don't give up, and you know that you want to make $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, whatever it is, as long as you can tap in to know where you're at, like when you got to a certain point and you knew you weren't okay, you went, okay, I need to reevaluate how I'm going about this. And you did that. So it's always kind of looking back and checking. And the other thing I love what you talk about is reflection. I watched one of your videos and I was like, oh, you're so amazing, because I'm doing the summit and I go, oh, I've got this, 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 and this to do. But now I'm starting to look back and going, oh, I've done all of this. That's so cool. And actually giving a pat on yourself on the back and going, actually, I've come quite far, because in life we gradually grow and we get older and we buy houses, do all these things. And we don't look back. We're just going, oh, I need more, I need more. But with that gratitude, more comes.
Yeah, exactly. And we're conditioned to always want more, to strive, and especially if you're naturally driven, it's easy just to forget about looking back and reflecting. But it is so important, because number one, you want to celebrate your wins. You want to be grateful and thankful for what has happened, and you can be in that moment of gratitude. But then you also want to look at what didn't go well and face up to that, because when you face up to that, you know what you need to change when you do it again, because we're not giving up. We're doing, this is what we're doing. There's no other choice. So you need to know what you need to do to change, to move forward, so you can have a better result next time. It also means that when you look at the things that didn't go well, you know what you need to take away or what you need to add. So perhaps if you launched a product, for example, that went okay, but you think it could have gone better, who could you have brought in as an expert to support you with that? So you can then reach out to people to support you. What I get my clients to do as many days as they can, I say every day, but as mums, every day doesn't really exist, because you just don't know what's going to happen in each day. But as much as you possibly can, when you're feeling at the end of your day that you feel like you haven't got anything done, the kids have taken over, and you haven't got as much done in your business as you possibly could, you just haven't ticked off your to-do list, I get them to do a done list. So it's like the opposite of a to-do list. So if you do your done list, you can write out a list of all the things you've done in your day, and you can actually go to bed feeling quite accomplished and think, actually, I got quite a lot done today, even though I didn't feel like it because I was running around after my toddler all the time. I did send that email. I did, reply back to that person who I've been meaning to for ages. I did have a hot cup of tea. That's an accomplishment as a mum. Yeah. So then if you're in that really positive state before you go to bed, you feel accomplished, and then you can start the next day with that positive attitude and that positive mindset. So always looking at what you've done and being, just celebrating yourself and just saying, go you for making, doing the best that you possibly could in that day.
Yeah. And it's what I said, what I like what you said about that was, also looking at back where you could have done better, because like doing a done list is amazing. I'm so doing that. But when as human beings, we have a tendency of being afraid of hearing if we did something wrong, because, you know, we're growing up and mum and dad are going, no, 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 no. And I try to say to my husband, hey, we're saying no too much. Let's just distract. So what I'm trying to get at is with that, it's to look at it in an open mind and not to go into your ego of thinking, oh, I fucked it up. Oh, excuse my language, but I messed it up. But we're talking to a whole lot of other people there, Jojo.
I'm sure they're going to be fine with it.
Yeah. And going, how can I do better? And stepping out of ourselves to say, how can I do better with that?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about what you just said, because then you're getting into a business mind, not your inner child mind of I messed it up. You know, how could have I actually done it better?
Something that I shared with my clients, it was actually just after I did that video that you were talking about with reflection, was taking the emotion out of business. And you know, as women, we can be quite emotional. And if we bring that into your business, it's going to get in the way. It's going to stop you from moving forward because you're too connected to it. And you need to let go of the outcome. You need to just focus on the systems and the processes that you're putting in place. And if you get a no from somebody, something doesn't go the way that you want it to, it doesn't matter, because you know what you're here to do. You know that what you are doing for other people should mean more to them than they mean to you. Like, if someone doesn't work with me, that's totally okay, because you know I'm here to help people. I know I can help people, and I'm not going to be for everybody. And if they can't see the value in that, then that's totally fine. You know, I'm not connected to it, I'm not emotional about it, and you know, that's just the way it is. So you need to take the emotions out of the business as well. Be emotional about your why and the reason why you're doing it. But then your focus when it comes to business needs to just be systems, processes, getting it done, taking action, and then it's not going to hold you back.
So what is, in a nutshell, what type of coach are you? Because there's so many different types. Like, I know you've just kind of said who you are, but in a nutshell, who are you for? I know you work with mums, majority of mums, but what type of mum would you kind of suit?
So I don't think I'm for every mum, and I've worked this out quite early on in my journey, because I don't feel like I'm a normal person. I'm a weirdo. But there's a certain type of mum I feel that will get it done no matter what. Will do it with no excuses. Will show up. Will put the work in, and know that they have that life waiting for them. So it's having that mindset where they want to live that rich life. They want to be rich in money, rich in happiness, rich in life, and they'll just show up, and there's no excuses, because you can't have success and excuses at the same time. It just doesn't work. So the mums that I work with are the ones who are like who I was 18 months ago, and it is, enough is enough. I need to make this happen. Tell me what I need to do and I'll go and do it. And they're the ones that are going to get results. Not everyone is ready for, you know, success, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Not everyone's ready to put the work in, and that's totally okay, because we're all on different parts of our journey. So it's only the people who are just ready to step up and make it happen.
And with your training programs, is it kind of like, do you do it in a certain amount of time, or is there ones that for mums that they can do like a couple of hours a day, or is it like full-fledged 3-month program and get into it? Or do you have different?
So I've got 3 different courses, programs. So I work with mums one-on-one. So that's my, I only work with 3 to 5 one-on-one clients a year at the moment, because that's the capacity that I have. I've got a 6-month coaching program, which is mainly group mentoring. There is a toolkit, a members area of all the resources that they would need to build a business, from mindset, branding, marketing, like everything that you possibly need. And if there's anything that they feel like they need that's not in there, I just create it, because I just, you know, I know that I can. And that's a 6-month program, which is soon to change to a 12-month program, because I'm very conscious of time frames. I am not the coach for you if you just want to have an hour with me and off you go, because my main focus is getting my clients results, and your life is not going to change in an hour. So I always want to make sure that I spend enough time with my clients to make sure that they get the results that they need. And then I've got an 8-week course which I've recently launched. The doors are close to that right now, but it's opening again in 4 months time. I think it's 4 months time. It's in September anyway. And that is an 8-week course where you're taken through the modules, which is going to create the business that you want, but that is more of something that as a mum you can do in your own time, but then still have that support from me with the group mentoring as well. So those are the 3 things that I focus on within my business. I'm very simple. I don't have hundreds of different courses. I like to just keep things simple because I know what works and I know what people need. So they're the 3 focus points that I have in my business right now.
Awesome. And that's literally something for everybody. It really is. And that's so I think overcomplication, especially for a mom who's not sleeping, who is they just go nah, and they click off and they just go on to the next thing on Facebook, you know.
I haven't got the mind space to have a complicated life. So I wanted my business to be as simple as possible. So if I can simplify the process for my clients, because I know they haven't got the mind space either, they're not going to get distracted by the TV. I haven't watched TV for 3.5 years. It was a conscious decision that I made because I was filling my mind with meaningless stuff. So I just decided, like, you can see I've got a TV there. It's not even hooked up to the satellite. That's just like, it's fun for Noah. But I just consciously decided not to watch TV and just feed my mind with trainings, with YouTube videos, with podcasts, with books. And I filled myself with so much knowledge. I simplified it into my courses, my programs, and then it's my job now to just teach other people in a simple way how to do it.
Wow. Do you know what? The whole TV thing's really interesting because last night I thought maybe I could watch a little bit of TV. And I was like, no, because I'm on this roll at the moment doing the summit, I have no interest in sitting there because my brain is going, I just want to get downstairs and get stuff done.
I can't even focus. If I think to myself, right, okay, I am going to switch off and I'm going to put a film on and, you know, just really just zone out. Like, it would be 20 minutes in. The last film I watched was in December. Can't remember what it was. It was Will Smith in it. Don't know what it was. The 20 minutes in, I was organising a live event. I'd never done a live event before. I just started organising this live event, started selling tickets, and then the live event happened in February. So, like, that's what happens when I sit down and I zone out. I start thinking about these things that I could do, and then things just happen. So I don't even feel like I've got time to watch TV. So if you feel like you've got time to watch TV, you're just not busy enough. So you need to start, you know, making
yeah, everybody, unplug your TVs. Stop being so lazy.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
The best thing I ever did was just like unplug the TV. 100%.
Yeah, I like watching movies, I've got to say. It's going to be a really good movie to get my attention, but the normal programs that I used to watch, I think it's about your mind, what your mind gets used to. And the more we use our mind, the more of our brain we're using. So I suppose you start learning more and more. Now, we're running out of time dramatically here. You have got an incredible free gift for our audience today. Can you run us through what that is, please?
Yes. So recently I took a training, which is probably my most value-packed, jam-packed full of all my golden nuggets, and it's a training. It's probably about an hour long, but it's called How to Explode Your Profit, Revolutionize Your Business, and Finally Become Rich in 60 Days or Less. So when I put that together, it was really important for me to give as much away as I possibly could for free. So I was able to give as many mums as possible that first kind of stepping stone, even if it was just that bit of inspiration to start their business, but then implement the tools to actually start making money in their business as well. So I will share the link to that. And it's something that I love sharing with people because it is just so valuable and it's really recent as well. So you'll get loads and loads of value from it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jojo. And the thing is, you guys, if you think business, stepping into business and becoming more for yourself and your family is what you want to do, then check out Jojo's free gift, and that might really just spark something. You will definitely learn something, and then also you can find Jojo and go further with business coaching. Where do we find you as well?
So the best place to find me will be probably on Facebook, Jojo Graham. That's my like business page. The Facebook group, the Rich Mum Society, and on Instagram, Jojo_Graham. Or you can find me on my personal Facebook as well. That's Georgina Graham. That's my real name. I've got nothing against my real name, but you can find me there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Facebook's probably the best place though.
Awesome. So I'm really looking forward to watching you grow even further and expand. And I think you had actually said that you wanted to reach 1 million mums by 2020. And I think you will, if you already haven't.
It's happened in my mind. It's already happened.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning, I feel, because my goal and my vision, it goes like beyond the 2020. It's like a 10-year plus vision.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone's watching this, and if your goals aren't reaching as far as 10 years, if your vision isn't reaching as far as 10 years, then you're not dreaming big enough. You need to dream huge, and you need to have that massive vision, and that's what's going to drive you forward every single day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So you have a lovely evening, and get not watching TV, doing lots of work.
I've got some work to do.
But it's fun. When we start making our work into, like, I don't see this as a job. Like, I just, like, if I say to my kids I'm going to work, it's kind of like means please try not to annoy me too much. But in the same essence, I'm like, oh my God, what can I do today? What can I create? It's so fun.
You need to have something that is going to make you jump out of bed every morning.
Yeah.
Stay up, like I'll look at the time, I'm like, oh my God, it's like 1, 2 in the morning. I need to get to bed because Noah's going to be up soon and I'm going to be really tired. But, I get lost in what I do because I'm obsessed. I love it. It's, it's not even, I don't even feel like it's me sometimes. It's like I'm being used to do this to help as many people as possible. So yeah, you need to just be in love with what you do.
Thank you so much. And we will, you guys make sure you tune in tomorrow to watch the next interview. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching you, Jojo.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.